Close your eyes. Imagine the ocean at night. Not a stormy ocean, not a restless one, but the ocean at its most still, at its most patient, the way it gets in the deepest hours of the night when the wind has dropped and the surface has smoothed itself into something that looks almost like dark glass, holding the reflection of 1,000 stars. That is where tonight's story begins. Not on land, not in a garden, not anywhere with edges or walls or anything that needs to be done. Just the ocean, and the moonlight, and one dolphin, moving slowly through water so dark and so deep and so completely at peace that simply imagining it is already enough to make something in you begin to let go. Welcome to Sleepy Wilds. Tonight we follow a dolphin through one long, quiet night in the open ocean. There is nothing here that needs your attention. Nothing to remember, nothing to follow closely, nothing that will be on any kind of test. Just water, and moonlight, and the slow, breathing rhythm of a creature entirely at home in the most peaceful place on earth. Let's begin. The moon has risen above the ocean. Its light falls across the water in a long, wavering path, pale silver, wide and generous, reaching all the way to the horizon where the sea and the sky meet in a darkness so soft it is almost blue. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. Somewhere beneath the surface, the dolphin moves. She has been moving since before the moon rose, since the last of the evening light faded from the water, since the ocean made its nightly shift from the warm gold of late afternoon to the deep, quiet silver of night. She is not swimming fast. There is no reason to swim fast tonight. The water is warm and still, the current beneath her barely perceptible, a slow and gentle pull in no particular direction that she follows without resistance, the way you follow a thought that leads nowhere in particular on a drowsy evening. Her body is perfectly designed for this, every curve of her, every smooth surface, built over millions of years into something that moves through water the way water moves through water, without resistance, without effort, with a grace so complete it barely registers as movement at all. She rises and she falls. She turns in a long, slow arc and rises again. Each breath is taken at the surface, quick and clean, a soft sound in the night air, and then she is beneath again, back into the deep quiet that is her whole world. Feel the weight of your body right now, feel how it is held, supported, the way the water holds the dolphin. You do not have to hold yourself up. You are held. Simply let that be true, and let everything else rest. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. The moon is high now, almost directly overhead, and the ocean beneath it is extraordinary. The surface catches the moonlight and breaks it into 10,000 moving pieces, each small wave, each slight ripple, becoming its own brief mirror for the sky above. And beneath all of this, the water deepens from midnight blue to something darker, something that has no name in the vocabulary of color, a darkness so complete and so gentle that it has its own kind of warmth. The dolphin moves through this world as if she has always been here, as if the ocean and the moonlight and the deep quiet were made specifically for a creature like her, and in a sense, they were. She has never known a ceiling, never known a wall, never known the particular weight of being somewhere you cannot simply drift away from. Her whole life is this open, patient, breathing darkness, and she moves through it with the confidence of something that has never needed to be anywhere else. Let that settle into you now. The confidence of something that has never needed to be anywhere else. You are exactly where you are supposed to be tonight. Not behind, not ahead, not missing anything. Simply here, in the dark, breathing slowly, exactly like the dolphin, exactly like the ocean itself, which has been doing nothing but breathing in and out for longer than anything else on earth. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. Beneath the surface, the world is different from anything above it. The moonlight penetrates only so far, a few meters, perhaps, where it becomes something diffuse and blue-green before fading entirely into the true dark of deeper water. The dolphin moves through both worlds, the moonlit upper layers and the deeper dark below, equally at home in each, transitioning between them so naturally that the boundary between light and dark seems to have no meaning for her at all. She dives now, deeper than before, following some quiet impulse that has no name. The water around her changes as she goes, cooler, darker, stiller, the sounds of the surface world fading into something that is not quite silence but is the closest thing to silence that exists in the ocean. Her own body sounds reach her, the beat of her heart, the movement of water along her skin, and beneath those, the vast, low, ancient sounds of the ocean itself, pressing in from all directions. Let yourself go deeper now too. Not into water but into rest. Deeper than you were a few minutes ago. Deeper than the surface thoughts, the familiar worries, the things you meant to do and didn't. Beneath all of that there is somewhere quieter, somewhere cooler, somewhere that has been waiting patiently for you all day. You can go there now. Simply let yourself sink, slowly and gently, the way the dolphin sinks into the deep water, without effort, without resistance, simply allowing the depth to receive you. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. She surfaces again, takes her breath, and then floats. Just floats, for a long moment, barely moving, her body rocking very slightly with the motion of the water. This is something dolphins do that is rarely observed, this near stillness, this suspension between one thing and another, when they are neither diving nor swimming but simply being held by the ocean, breathing slowly, resting in the way that creatures rest when they are completely safe and completely at ease. The moon has moved slightly across the sky since the story began, not dramatically, not noticeably unless you have been watching closely, but the slow arc of it across the night sky is continuous, patient, as inevitable as everything else in the natural world. The stars have shifted with it, imperceptibly, the whole sky turning overhead in a movement so gradual it requires the whole night to complete. This is a good moment to let something go. Whatever you have been holding since you lay down, a thought about tomorrow, something unresolved, something you are still carrying from the day, let it float away now the way the ripples from the dolphin's breath float away across the surface of the ocean. Not forced away. Not pushed. Simply released, the way she releases her breath, completely and without effort, and then breathes in fresh and clean and new. The ocean holds her. The night holds everything. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. Far below the dolphin, the ocean floor is somewhere that neither moonlight nor imagination reaches easily, a different world entirely, dark and cold and utterly still, where nothing moves quickly and nothing has moved quickly for a very long time. The dolphin does not go there. Her world is the middle ocean, the water column between the depths and the surface, where the temperature is warm and the light still reaches faintly and the current moves in slow, breathing patterns that she has known her whole life. She knows this part of the ocean the way you know a room you have slept in for years, not by thinking about it, not by consciously navigating it, but by the feel of the water, by the temperature, by the particular way sound moves here, by 10,000 small signs that mean nothing individually but together mean home. You have a version of this too. The particular feel of your own bed, your own pillow, your own darkness. The way the room sounds at night, the way the temperature settles, the particular quality of the rest that belongs specifically to this place and this night. Let all of that wrap around you now. You know this place. You are safe here. Everything is exactly as familiar as it has always been. The dolphin turns in a long, slow circle, reading the water, finding her place in it, settling into the night. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. The ocean has a sound that most people never hear, not the surface sounds of waves and wind, but the deep sound of the ocean itself, the low, continuous resonance of an enormous body of water in motion, a sound so low and so constant that it is felt more than heard, a kind of pressure, a kind of presence, the voice of something so large that it does not need to raise itself to be felt. The dolphin hears this all the time. It is the background of her entire life, the constant, unchanging presence of the ocean's own voice beneath everything else. She does not notice it anymore in the way you might notice a new sound. It is simply there, the way your own heartbeat is simply there, beneath everything, always. Notice your own heartbeat now if you can. Don't try to change it. Simply notice it. Steady, patient, doing its work without any help from you, without any attention from you, without any need for your involvement at all. It has been beating this same reliable rhythm since before you knew what a heartbeat was. It will keep beating long after you have stopped thinking about it and simply drifted into sleep. Let it beat. Let the dolphin swim. Let the ocean sound its low, ancient note. And let yourself simply rest within all of it. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. A jellyfish drifts past the dolphin, pale and luminous in the dark water, its slow pulsing movement entirely unhurried, entirely peaceful. It does not know where it is going. It has no destination. It simply pulses, and the water moves it, and it pulses again, and this has been sufficient for jellyfish for 600 million years, which is longer than almost anything else has existed on Earth. The dolphin passes near it without disturbance. Two creatures, two entirely different ways of being alive, sharing the same dark water for a moment before the current takes the jellyfish one way and the dolphin's own movement takes her another. Neither of them marks the moment. Neither of them carries it forward. It simply was, and then it was not, and the ocean continues as it always has. Let your thoughts be like that jellyfish now. Drifting. Pulsing gently. Moving wherever the current takes them without resistance, without agenda, without needing to arrive anywhere. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to direct them. Simply let them drift, and let the current of this quiet voice carry you somewhere altogether stiller and deeper and more restful. The jellyfish fades into the dark. The dolphin swims on. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit. The night has settled fully now, fully and completely, into that particular depth that only the middle hours of the night achieve, when the evening is completely gone and the morning has not yet begun to announce itself, and the darkness is as complete as it will ever be, soft and deep and utterly without urgency. The dolphin swims through this darkness with the ease of a creature that has never needed light to feel at home. Her senses reach out into the water around her, the sonar she carries within her, that extraordinary gift of hearing the shape of the world in the echoes of her own voice, tells her everything she needs to know about the water, the depths, the distances, the slow movements of the ocean around her. She is never lost. She is never uncertain. She is simply here, in the water, in the dark, moving slowly through a world she knows completely. You are not lost either. You know this place. This bed, this dark, this particular quality of night that belongs to wherever you are. Your body knows how to be here. It has always known. And the rest that is waiting for you here is as patient and as certain as the ocean itself, as deep, as dark, as completely without end. Simply float now. Let the dolphin swim. Let the ocean breathe. And let yourself go, slowly and completely, down into the dark and the quiet and the rest. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything it reached with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above the water continued their slow turning, indifferent and patient, as they always had. The dolphin has been swimming for a long while now without any particular direction, not lost, never lost, simply moving the way the ocean itself moves, following no map, following no plan, simply existing within the vast, patient body of water that has always been her home. She turns when she wants to turn. She dives when she wants to dive. She surfaces and breathes and floats and continues, and none of it requires any decision in the way that decisions require effort. It is simply what she does, and the night ocean simply receives it. From far above, if you could see her, she would be a small shape moving through something impossibly large, the whole dark ocean stretching in every direction for thousands of miles, and in the middle of it, this one small warm-blooded creature, breathing steadily, moving steadily, at home in a way that almost nothing else could be at home here. There is something deeply comforting about that. The smallness of her, and the largeness of what holds her, and the fact that the largeness holds her perfectly, not swallowing her, not overwhelming her, simply receiving her, the way the night receives everything that rests within it. You are held like that too, right now. By the night, by the dark, by whatever is beneath and around you. Small and warm and breathing, in something much larger and much more patient than anything you need to think about tonight. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The moonlight on the water is doing something remarkable. As the dolphin moves just beneath the surface, the moonlight catches the movement of the water. She disturbs and scatters it into dozens of shifting, silver shapes, a brief, quiet light show that exists for no audience, that no one has ever seen from this exact angle before, that will never be repeated in exactly this way. It simply happens, in the dark, in the middle of the ocean, because the dolphin is moving and the moon is shining and the water is between them. This is the kind of thing the ocean does when no one is watching. Endless, unwitnessed beauty, happening because the conditions are right, not because anyone arranged it or asked for it. Let your thoughts be like that moonlight on water right now. Moving, shifting, scattering, but not going anywhere in particular, not arriving at anything, simply creating their own brief, unimportant patterns in the dark and then dissolving. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to make them mean anything. Let them scatter and fade the way the light scatters across the surface and fades when the dolphin has passed. She is already past. The water is still again. The moonlight settles back into its long, quiet path across the surface, undisturbed, patient, continuing. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. Somewhere far beneath the dolphin, fish are moving in slow schools through the dark water, not the fast, urgent schooling of fish being chased, but the unhurried drift of fish in the middle of the night, when the ocean is quiet and there is nothing to flee and nothing to pursue. They move together in the particular way that schools of fish move, each one responding to the movements of the ones nearest to it, the whole group turning and shifting as one organism, fluid and effortless. The dolphin knows they are there. Her sonar reaches them, tells her their shape and their size and their distance. She does not hunt tonight. Tonight is not for hunting. Tonight is for this, for the slow movement through the familiar dark, for the breathing and the floating and the long, quiet turning of the night around her. This is something worth carrying with you as you drift toward sleep, the idea that not every night needs to be for doing. Some nights are simply for being. For breathing. For letting the darkness do what darkness does, which is to hold everything that rests within it without asking anything in return. This is one of those nights. For you and for the dolphin both. Let the fish drift in their slow school far below. Let the dolphin swim on above them. Let yourself rest in the space between, suspended gently in the quiet. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The ocean has a temperature tonight that is exactly right, not cold, not warm in the way that makes you restless, but the particular temperature of deep water in the middle of the night, which is to say something that registers less as a sensation and more as an absence of sensation, a neutrality, a place where the boundary between your skin and the water around you begins to blur. The dolphin lives in this temperature. She has thermoregulation built into her, the warmth of a mammal carried within her even in the depths of the coldest sea. But tonight the water is warm enough that the difference barely registers, and she moves through it in a state that might, in another creature, be called contentment, a word that implies nothing more complicated than the absence of wanting anything to be different from how it is. That is where you are going now. That state. The absence of wanting anything to be different. Not forcing yourself to be comfortable, simply noticing that you already are, that the temperature is already right, that your body is already as warm as it needs to be, that the dark is already exactly as dark as it should be, that the quiet is already there, waiting, asking nothing. Nothing needs to be different. Everything is already exactly as it is. The dolphin swims on through the perfectly tempered dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. She dives again. Not deep this time, a shallow dive, curving down perhaps 10 meters before arching back up toward the moonlit surface, her body making the arc as naturally as a breath, as naturally as the curl of a wave. The water pressure changes as she goes, a slight increase on the way down, a slight release on the way up, and her body responds to each without any deliberate adjustment, simply adapting as it always has, the way bodies adapt to everything they have always known. At the lowest point of the arc, for a fraction of a second, the dolphin is neither going down nor going up but simply suspended in the water, weightless, unhurried, held at exactly the midpoint between depth and surface in a stillness that lasts no longer than a heartbeat and yet feels, somehow, like the longest and most restful moment of the whole night. Look for that moment in your own body right now, that fraction of a second between your exhale and your next inhale, when your lungs are empty and the breath has not yet begun to return. A moment of complete suspension. A moment that belongs to neither the breathing out nor the breathing in but simply to the space between them. Rest in that space. The breath will return when it returns. It always does. The dolphin arcs upward. The surface approaches. She breathes. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars are reflected in the water around the dolphin as she floats on the surface, and for a moment the world is a sphere of stars, stars above her, stars below her, stars in every direction, the whole universe briefly visible in the surface of the ocean, trembling very slightly with the motion of the water. Then a small wave passes, and the reflection breaks, and the stars become just stars again, above, where they belong, where they have always been, turning slowly through a sky that is so much larger than anything you are worrying about tonight that the worry, if you could see it from up there, would be invisible. Too small to see. Smaller than the dolphin is, from the height of the stars. Smaller than anything. Let that be comforting rather than diminishing. Your worries are very small from very far away. The night is very large. The ocean is very large. The sky above the ocean is larger still. And all of it, every part of it, is resting tonight, the same way you are resting, the same way the dolphin is resting, in the particular piece of a world that simply continues, patiently and without drama, through the dark. The stars continue. The ocean continues. You continue, breathing slowly, your worries dissolving at the edges the way the star reflections dissolve when the wave passes. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The dolphin makes a sound. It is brief and low, barely audible above the surface, a soft click that travels through the water in all directions, bouncing off whatever it meets and returning to her with information about the world around her. She listens to the returning echoes with a part of her that has no equivalent in human anatomy, a sensitivity to sound that turns the whole ocean into a kind of three-dimensional map, constantly updating, constantly accurate. But the click she just made was not for navigation. It was not for hunting or for finding depth or for mapping the seafloor. It was something else entirely, the kind of sound that dolphins make when they are simply present to the night, the way a person might murmur softly to themselves when they are nearly asleep, not meaning anything in particular, simply expressing the fact of their own continued existence in the quiet. You can do that too, if you want. Exhale softly. Let the breath carry whatever sound it carries, however quiet, and let that sound mean simply that you are here, that you are breathing, that you are present in your own quiet way to this particular moment of this particular night, and that is entirely sufficient. You are here. That is enough. The dolphin listens to her own echo fading into the deep. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. There is a current tonight running from the south, warm and slow, moving through the upper layers of the ocean at a pace that is barely faster than the dolphin's own unhurried swimming. She finds it and rests within it, letting it carry her slightly, reducing even the small effort of her forward movement to almost nothing. She is not passive, her body makes constant small adjustments, her tail moving in a rhythm so minimal it barely counts as movement, but she is as close to effortless as a swimming creature can get. This is what dolphins do when the night is good and the current is right and there is nowhere to be and nothing to do. They find the water that will carry them and they rest within it and they let themselves be taken, slowly, nowhere in particular, for as long as the night and the current last. Feel for your own current right now, the thing that is already carrying you towards sleep, without you having to do anything. It is already there. The tiredness in your body, the heaviness behind your eyes, the way your breathing has slowed without you asking it to. These are the current. You do not have to swim. You only have to stop resisting. Stop resisting. Let yourself be carried. The dolphin is letting herself be carried. The ocean is taking her somewhere slow and dark and restful. Let it take you there too. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The moon has moved further across the sky since the story began. It is lower now than it was, its light falling at a longer angle across the water, the silver path it makes on the surface longer and thinner, reaching further toward the horizon. By the time it sets, the ocean will be darker, lit only by starlight, which is a different kind of light altogether, softer, more diffuse, barely enough to see by but enough to feel, enough to know the sky is still there above the water. The dolphin is not watching the moon. She does not track its movement the way a sailor might, using it for navigation. She simply swims beneath it, receiving its light the same way she receives the warmth of the water and the pressure of the current, as part of the world she lives in, unremarkable in its presence, missed only in its absence. You do not need to watch anything right now either. You do not need to track anything or notice anything or hold on to anything. The night is doing its work without your supervision. Your body is doing its work without your supervision. The moon is moving across the sky, and the dolphin is swimming beneath it, and somewhere in all of that, something very like rest is arriving for you, slowly and certainly, the way all good things arrive when you stop trying to make them happen. Let your eyes stay closed. Let the moon move. Let the dolphin swim. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. The ocean is breathing. This is not a metaphor, the ocean literally breathes, in the sense that its surface rises and falls in the long, slow swells that travel thousands of miles across its surface, each one a breath taken somewhere far away and arriving here as a gentle rise and fall beneath the dolphin's body. She rises with each swell and falls with it, the movement so gradual and so large that it feels less like motion and more like being in the lung of something enormous and peaceful, something that breathes in cycles of many seconds, each breath long enough to rest within, each exhalation slow enough to follow all the way down. Follow it now. Follow the long exhale of the ocean's breathing, all the way down, all the way to the bottom of the breath, where for a moment there is nothing but the pause before the next one begins. Rest in that pause. The ocean will breathe again. The swell will rise again. But right now, in the bottom of the breath, there is a stillness that is the closest thing in the natural world to the complete quiet you are drifting toward. The dolphin rests in the swell. The ocean breathes slowly. And you, following the same long rhythm, breathing the same slow breath, are already more than halfway to wherever sleep is waiting for you tonight. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. The dolphin has found a rhythm now that requires nothing of her, a long, slow swimming pace that her body could maintain for hours without effort, a breathing pattern that arrives and departs like the tide, a relationship with the water around her so complete and so established that she barely registers the act of swimming as something separate from the act of simply being. This is what it looks like when rest and movement become the same thing. When the doing is so natural and so unhurried that it has the quality of not doing. When the body is so at home in what it is doing that the mind, if dolphins have minds in the way we mean the word, can simply release itself from any involvement and drift. Your mind can do that now too. It does not need to be involved in your breathing. It does not need to be involved in the beating of your heart, or the settling of your body into whatever is beneath you, or the slow, reliable arrival of sleep. These things are happening by themselves, the way the dolphin swims by herself, the way the ocean moves by itself, without any supervision, without any effort, simply because it is what they do and the conditions are right. The conditions are right tonight. The mind can release. The body knows what to do. Let it do it. Somewhere above the clouds that have begun to drift in from the west, the moon continues its arc. The clouds are thin and high, the kind that do not block the moonlight but soften it, spreading it out across a wider area of sky so that instead of one bright moon there is a general, diffuse luminescence, a glow rather than a light, something more like the idea of moonlight than moonlight itself. The ocean beneath this softened sky seems quieter somehow, the contrasts reduced, the hard silver of direct moonlight replaced by something gentler and more even. The dolphin barely notices the change. Light and its variations are less important to her than sound and pressure and the feel of the water. The glow reaches her as something warm on the upper surface of her body when she rises to breathe, and then she is beneath again and it does not matter. Let the light around you soften now in the same way. Whatever is there, the darkness behind your eyelids, the faint glow from somewhere, whatever the night looks like from where you are lying, let it become less specific, less defined. Let it be simply what it is, the quality of the dark in this particular place at this particular hour, familiar and safe and asking nothing. The cloud passes. The glow shifts. The dolphin breathes. The water at this depth, at this hour, carries within it the accumulated warmth of the day. The sun that fell on this part of the ocean throughout the long afternoon has given its heat to the upper layers, and that heat is still there, slowly dissipating, slowly spreading downward into the cooler water below. The dolphin swims through this stored warmth the way you might walk through a patch of sunlight that has collected between two buildings, something given freely, requiring nothing in return, simply there because the conditions made it possible. She has been swimming in stored warmth her whole life, in a sense. The ocean is full of it, heat from the sun, heat from the earth's interior reaching up through the seafloor in places, heat exchanged between water and air and current and creature in a system so complex and so continuous that no one has ever fully mapped it. And all of it arrives at the dolphin as simply warmth. Simply the feeling of being somewhere that is exactly the right temperature to be. Feel your own warmth now. The warmth your body generates, the warmth your blankets or your bed hold around you, the accumulated warmth of an evening spent somewhere comfortable. It is all around you. It is asking nothing of you. Simply receive it, the way the dolphin receives the warmth of the water, without thinking about where it came from or how long it will last. It is here now. That is enough. A shooting star falls across the sky above the ocean. The dolphin does not see it, she is beneath the surface at that precise moment, arcing downward in a gentle dive, but if she had been at the surface, it would have appeared as a brief bright scratch across the dark, gone almost before it registered, leaving the sky exactly as it was. This is the thing about shooting stars. They ask nothing of you. They do not require you to make a wish, despite what you may have been told. They simply happen, in the dark, briefly and completely, and the sky is unchanged by them, and the night continues exactly as it was, and the only thing you carry forward from the moment is the faint, pleasant knowledge that you were in the right place at the right time to see something briefly beautiful. You are in the right place at the right time right now. Whatever has brought you to this particular moment, this particular bed, this particular night, this voice, this ocean, this dolphin moving slowly through the dark water, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. The shooting star has already passed. The sky is already clear. And the night is already so full of quiet, patient beauty that there is nothing left to wish for. The dolphin surfaces. Breathes. Dives again. She passes through a patch of bioluminescence, a cloud of microscopic organisms that glow faintly when disturbed, lighting up briefly as her body moves through them, her passage marked in the dark water by a faint trail of cold blue-green light that fades within seconds of her passing. She has swum through this kind of light many times. It is not remarkable to her. But from the outside, from above the water on a dark night, a dolphin moving through bioluminescence is one of the most extraordinary things the ocean produces, this living light, these brief cold sparks, this quiet evidence of the millions of invisible lives that exist in every cubic meter of ocean, living and dying and glowing faintly in the dark without any awareness of being extraordinary at all. You are part of something like that. Not alone in the dark, even when it feels that way, surrounded by countless other lives, each one breathing and dreaming and resting in their own particular way, each one briefly luminous in their own invisible fashion. The whole night is full of this. The whole world, sleeping and glowing faintly with the particular light of lives at rest. You are one of those lights. Faint and brief and real. The bioluminescence fades. The dolphin swims on through the dark. The night has reached its midpoint. The stars that rose in the east as the evening began are now directly overhead or past it, beginning their slow descent toward the western horizon. The stars that will be visible in the pre-dawn sky are not yet risen. There is a window of the night that belongs entirely to neither the beginning nor the end, a middle space, a between time, that is the deepest and most complete darkness the night produces. The dolphin is in this darkness now. Swimming through the very middle of the night, the very middle of the ocean, the very center of the quiet. Nothing is ending. Nothing is beginning. Everything is simply continuing, in that patient way that things continue when no one is making them happen. This is where you are too. In the middle. Between the day that has already finished and the morning that has not yet started. In the space that belongs to neither, that belongs only to rest, that exists specifically so that living things can stop and breathe and restore themselves before the next beginning. Be here, in the middle. Let the middle hold you. It is the most complete rest there is, not falling asleep, not waking up, but the long, quiet center of the night where time moves differently and the body knows things the mind does not. The dolphin swims through the center of the night. You rest within it. She rises to breathe and stays at the surface longer than usual, floating on her side for a moment, one eye open to the sky, looking up at the stars with an expression that, if you were to anthropomorphize it, might be called contemplative. Dolphins do this sometimes. They rest at the surface, barely moving, in a state that researchers call logging. The dolphin floating as still as a log in the water, resting one half of the brain at a time while the other half keeps watch, keeps breathing, keeps the body at the surface where the air is. This is one of the more extraordinary things about dolphins. They never fully lose consciousness the way humans do in deep sleep. One half of the brain always remains aware, always maintains the basic functions, always keeps them alive and breathing. The other half sleeps. And then they switch. Your whole brain can rest tonight. You do not need to keep watch. You are safe, and there is nothing to monitor, and the part of you that has been alert all day can finally, completely, let go. Both halves. All of it. The whole beautiful complicated system of you, resting at once, in the dark, as the dolphin floats at the surface of the moonlit ocean with one eye open to the stars. Let both eyes close. Let the whole of you rest. The current has shifted slightly, as currents do in the night ocean, responding to changes in temperature and wind and the slow movement of water masses far below the surface. The dolphin adjusts without noticing the adjustment. Her body simply incorporates the new information and continues, the way a dreaming person incorporates the sounds of the house into their dream without waking. She is heading, without intention, toward a part of the ocean she knows well, a seamount, a place where the ocean floor rises toward the surface and the water above it is rich and warm, a place she has returned to many times in her life without ever deciding to return, simply finding herself here because here is where the warmth is, here is where the water is richest, here is the place that feels most completely like home. You have places like that too. Places your body returns to without being told, the particular position you always end up in when you finally fall asleep, the way your breathing settles into its deep rhythm when rest finally arrives, the specific quality of unconsciousness that is yours and no one else's. Your body knows the way. It is already heading there. It has been heading there since you lay down. You do not need to navigate. Simply follow. The water above the seamount is warmer than the open ocean around it, and the dolphin moves through this warmth with the ease of a creature arriving somewhere familiar. She does not slow down exactly, she simply becomes more fully herself, more completely at home, the slight tension that is always present in a body moving through unknown water releasing itself into something looser, something more given over to the moment. Above her, the sky has begun, so faintly that only the most careful watching would reveal it, its first, barely perceptible shift toward morning. Not lightning yet. Not in any way that could be called dawn. Simply a quality in the darkness that is infinitesimally different from the quality it had an hour ago. The very first suggestion that somewhere beyond the horizon, the earth is continuing its turn toward the sun. But morning is still a long way away. And the dolphin is warm and the water is rich and the night still has many hours left to offer, and she swims on through the warmth above the seamount in the particular piece of a creature that has found its place and settled into it and requires nothing more. You have found your place too. This bed, this dark, this slow and quiet moment. Let it be enough. It is more than enough. The seamount holds the warm water. The warm water holds the dolphin. There is a sound the ocean makes in the deep night that has no name in any human language because no human has ever heard it from inside the water in the way the dolphin hears it. It is a sound that is also a pressure, a frequency so low it is felt through the whole body rather than heard through the ears, the combined vibration of all the water in the ocean, moving, always communicating with itself across thousands of miles through this low and ancient sound. The dolphin hears it the way you hear your own heartbeat when the room is very quiet, not as something separate from herself but as part of the background of being alive. It has always been there. It will always be there. It is the voice of the thing that holds her. Listen for the equivalent in your own body right now. Something that has always been there. The sound of your own blood moving, or your breathing, or the particular quality of silence in the room that is not quite silence but is the room itself, breathing, existing, being present around you in the dark. You are inside something that is holding you. You have always been inside something that is holding you. The night, the house, the bed, the quiet, all of it gathered around you the way the ocean gathers around the dolphin, completely, from all directions, without gaps. You are held. You have always been held. Rest now, inside the holding. The dolphin rests above the seamount, moving slowly in a wide, gentle circle, not a purposeful circle, not one with a center she is trying to reach or a boundary she is trying to maintain, simply the shape that her slow swimming makes when she is at her most relaxed, when the effort of going somewhere has been replaced by the ease of simply being somewhere. The circle is wide and unhurried, and each time around it looks slightly different, slightly shifted, a spiral more than a circle, drifting very gradually across the warm water above the rise in the ocean floor. This is the kind of movement that is almost indistinguishable from stillness. If you were watching her from very far above, you would see almost nothing, a small shape, barely moving, in an ocean that stretches to every horizon and beyond. And yet within that almost stillness, something is happening that is essential. The body is maintaining itself. The blood is moving. The breath is arriving and departing. The whole complex, warm-blooded system of her is continuing its quiet work, doing what it does, asking for nothing except to be allowed to continue. Your own system is doing that right now. Quietly and without drama, maintaining itself, asking for nothing except to be allowed to rest. Trust it. It has been doing this since before you could think about it, and it will continue long after you stop thinking about it tonight. Let it continue. You are already almost asleep. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing. A whale is passing somewhere in the deeper water below, not close enough for the dolphin to hear it clearly, but present in the water as a vibration, a low signal traveling through the ocean from somewhere to the south and heading somewhere to the north. The whale does not know the dolphin is here. The dolphin knows the whale is there. Her sonar picks up the faint vibration, registers it as a large warm-blooded creature moving slowly in deep water, and that is all. No alarm. No response. Simply information, received and filed and forgotten. The world is full of other lives moving through the night. Most of them you will never know about. Most of them are no closer to you than that whale is to the dolphin, present somewhere in the same dark, breathing the same night air, finding their own version of rest in whatever way their nature allows. This is not a lonely thought. It is the opposite. The night is full of lives. The dark is crowded with breathing. And all of it, every sleeping child, every dreaming creature, every warm thing resting in the cold night, is doing what you are doing right now. Moving toward rest. Finding the current. Letting go. You are part of that. Part of the night's enormous, ordinary miracle of lives at rest. The whale passes. The vibration fades. The dolphin circles on. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The dolphin dives beneath the seamount's warmth, into the cooler water just below, and floats there for a moment in the thermocline, the boundary between two layers of water at different temperatures, a place where warm and cool meet and neither wins, a permanent border maintained by the ocean with perfect indifference. She hovers here, her body at the exact meeting point of two different worlds, belonging entirely to both and entirely to neither. You are in a thermocline of your own right now, the boundary between waking and sleeping, where the two states meet and neither fully dominates. You can feel both, if you are still aware enough to notice. The room around you, the physical sensation of your body in the bed, the last traces of conscious thought, all of this is the waking side. And on the other side, closer than it seems, the deep, dark water of sleep, cool and complete and waiting with perfect patience. You do not have to cross the boundary by force. It is not a wall. It is a gradient, a slow, gradual shift from one state to another, the way warm water becomes cool water in the ocean, imperceptibly, 1 degree at a time. You are already drifting across it. You have been drifting across it for some time now. Simply allow the drift to continue. The dolphin rises back into the warmth. The thermocline holds its line. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the. She surfaces and breathes and this time stays at the surface longer, her body barely moving, her breathing slow and even, the moonlight falling across her smooth dark back in a pale, unsteady light. She is not logging exactly, not in the formal sense, but she is in a state that is close to it, a state where the effort of swimming has been reduced to its minimum and the rest has been increased to its maximum and the two have reached a balance that feels very much like simply floating. The surface of the ocean around her is extraordinarily still tonight. The swells have reduced to something almost imperceptible, a gentle breathing of the surface, barely visible unless you are right at the water level, looking along it. From above, the ocean might look like a mirror. From within it, it feels like the inside of a breath held very gently, very softly, for a long and comfortable time. Feel that. The held breath of the ocean. The particular quality of stillness that belongs to the deepest, quietest moment of the night. Your own body is that still right now, or nearly so. Your breathing is that gentle. The space between each thought has grown long enough to rest within. You are very close. The ocean is very still. The dolphin floats in the moonlight. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. Somewhere in the distance, toward the horizon, the lights of a ship pass slowly. The ship is far enough away that it is barely visible, a cluster of small lights moving with extraordinary slowness across the place where the sea meets the sky, carrying whatever it carries to wherever it is going, indifferent to the dolphin and to the moonlight and to the particular quality of this particular night. The dolphin does not see the lights. She is at the surface, but her attention, such as it is inward, not outward. She registers the ship's engines as a distant mechanical sound through the water, low and regular, and then it passes and the sound fades and the ocean is quiet again, and the ship might never have been there at all except for the very faint wake it leaves behind, a gentle disturbance in the surface that reaches the dolphin minutes later as the softest possible rocking, a motion so slight she might be imagining it. Let the last of the day's world pass by like that ship tonight. Whatever remained of it, the unfinished thought, the thing you meant to do, the conversation you are still turning over, let it pass at the edge of your awareness, its lights growing smaller, its engine sound fading, its wake arriving as the gentlest possible rocking before even that fades and the ocean is still again. It is gone. The ocean is still. You are here. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. The dolphin makes another sound, different from the click she made earlier, softer, more sustained, something between a hum and a whistle that travels through the water and simply continues, spreading outward in all directions, not waiting for an echo, not looking for information, simply a sound released into the ocean the way you might release a slow exhale, completely, without purpose, simply because the body needs to. The sound travels. The ocean receives it. It fades over distance into the low background noise of the water, and then it is gone, and the only evidence that it was ever made is whatever tiny disturbance it left in the molecules of water it passed through, something so small it cannot be measured, something that will itself fade within seconds into the same general quiet. Give something like that to the night now. An exhale. A release of whatever is left. Not the big things, those are already gone, already faded, already dissolved into the dark where they cannot reach you tonight. Simply the last small thing. The last held breath. The last small tension in the last small place. Let it go the way the dolphin's sound goes, outward, into the water, into the night, fading gently over whatever distance it travels until it is simply part of the quiet. The sound is gone. The quiet remains. It always remains. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. The ocean has its own kind of memory. Not in the way that creatures have memory, not stored in cells, not retrievable, but in the physical sense that water remembers the passage of things through it for a brief time, the slight temperature change left by a warm body, the pressure change left by a movement, the chemical trace left by a living thing passing through. These traces persist for a few minutes, or a few hours, before the ocean's own circulation erases them and the water becomes simply water again, with no record of what passed through it. The dolphin leaves her trace as she swims, a faint warmth, a slight disturbance, a chemical signature that another dolphin might detect and follow if another dolphin were here tonight. But no other dolphin is here. The trace is made and then unmade, known to no one, mattering to nothing, existing simply because she exists and she is warm and she is moving through the water. There is something restful in that. The idea of passing through without leaving a mark that matters. The idea of a night that will keep no record of your worries, your mistakes, the things you said and should not have, the things you did not say and should have. The ocean of sleep keeps no record. You awake with nothing owed, nothing marked against you. Simply pass through. The water will close behind you. And in the morning it will be as clean as if this night had never been. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The clouds that came in from the west have thickened slightly, covering more of the sky, and the moonlight has become more diffuse, more gentle, less a light and more a general glow that seems to come from inside the cloud itself rather than from anything behind it. The ocean beneath this sky is quieter in its light, softer shadows, softer reflections, everything reduced to its simplest version. The dolphin swims through this simplified world with no less ease than she swam through the bright moonlight earlier. The light is not what she navigates by. The sound, the pressure, the temperature, the feel of the water, these are what guide her, and they have not changed. The world looks different from above the surface. From within it, everything is exactly as it has always been. Your own world is simplified right now too. The details have faded, the specific worries, the specific faces, the specific tasks, and what remains is something more basic, more essential. The warmth. The dark. The breathing. The simple fact of being alive and resting in a bed in the middle of the night, which is, when you strip everything else away, a very good place to be. It is a very good place to be. The clouds soften the light. The ocean simplifies. The dolphin swims on. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. She dives again. Not deep, a shallow, curving dive that takes her down perhaps 5 meters before arching her back upward toward the surface, her tail working in that beautiful, unhurried rhythm that is so different from anything on land, so purely aquatic, so completely native to the water that to watch it is to understand, for a moment, what it would mean to have never known anything except the ocean. At the lowest point of the dive, in that brief moment of suspension she has passed through many times tonight, the world is completely quiet. The surface sounds, the wind, the faint lapping of small waves, the very distant engines of the ship that has long since passed, are gone. What remains is the deep ocean sound, the low and permanent voice of the water itself, and within that, the sound of her own body, her heartbeat, her blood, her breathing suspended for this moment while she is beneath. Find that suspension now, in your own body. The moment between the exhale and the next inhale. The moment between one thought and whatever comes after it. The moment between being awake and being asleep, which may be where you are right now, suspended, briefly, in a space that belongs to neither. Rest in that space. You do not need to choose a side. The dolphin arcs upward. The surface approaches. She breathes. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The night is deep and the ocean is quiet, and the dolphin is somewhere in the middle of both, moving slowly through water that has received her completely, that asks nothing of her, that will be here long after this particular night has become the next morning and then the next day and then a memory so small it barely registers. She does not think about this. She simply swims, and breathes, and turns, and dives, and surfaces, and floats, and continues. This is the whole of what she needs to do tonight, and she does it with the complete, unhurried dedication of a creature that has never been anywhere else and never needed to be. You have never needed to be anywhere else tonight either. This is the right place. This is the right time. This is exactly the right amount of quiet and dark and warmth for a person who needs to rest, and you are already resting, already further into the night than you think, already closer to the deep quiet of true sleep than your conscious mind knows. Let the conscious mind not know. Let it rest too. Let the whole of you simply be here, in the dark, in the warmth, moving as gently as the dolphin moves through her ocean, breathing as slowly as the ocean breathes, and letting the night carry you, as it carries everything, toward morning. The dolphin swims. The ocean breathes. And somewhere in the quiet, you are already asleep. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin has entered a long, slow glide, a moment when she stops actively swimming and simply moves through the water on the momentum of her last stroke, her body perfectly streamlined, cutting through the water with almost no resistance, traveling further than you might expect on nothing more than the energy she has already given. This is the most efficient thing a dolphin can do, to have already put in the effort and then to simply let the results of that effort carry her forward, without adding anything more, without pushing, without working. Simply allowing what has already been done to be enough. You have already put in the effort today. Whatever the day was, whatever it asked of you, you gave it something. And now the effort is done, and the momentum of it, the tiredness that follows effort, the heaviness that follows a full day, is carrying you forward into rest the same way the dolphin's momentum carries her through the water. You do not need to add anything more. You do not need to push. You have already done enough. Simply let what you have already done carry you the rest of the way. Let the momentum of a full day and a long evening bring you, without additional effort, to the place you are already heading. The dolphin glides. The water receives her completely. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The stars that are visible between the clouds have shifted noticeably now from where they were when the night began. Orion, which rose in the east in the early evening, is now high in the south, its belt of 3 stars perfectly horizontal, its shape unchanged by the turning of the earth beneath it. The Pleiades are nearby, their small tight cluster faint but visible between the clouds, the same cluster that sailors have navigated by for 10,000 years, the same cluster that was rising over oceans long before there were any ships to sail on them. The Dolphin does not navigate by stars. Her kind navigated these oceans long before humans first looked up and began giving the stars names. She simply swims beneath them, as her ancestors swam beneath them, through the same dark water, under the same turning sky, in the same unhurried rhythm that has been sufficient for 60 million years. There is something deeply restful in that continuity. The stars that are above you right now, whatever stars are visible wherever you are, have been above someone trying to sleep for as long as humans have been sleeping. You are part of something very long and very continuous. The night has held sleeping creatures since before there were creatures who could wonder about such things. You are in good company. The oldest company there is. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the Dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The Dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. She finds a patch of slightly warmer water, a degree, perhaps 2, above the surrounding ocean, and settles into it the way you settle into a warm patch of bed that has been holding your heat. She reduces her movement to almost nothing here, her tail barely stirring, her body rocking very gently with the swell, her breathing coming at long, slow intervals that match the pace of the water rising and falling beneath her. Warmth does this. It slows everything down. It takes the edge off whatever tension remains, softens the muscles that were holding something without knowing they were holding it, releases the breath that was being kept slightly shorter than it needed to be. The Dolphin in her warm water is looser than she was an hour ago, not that she was tense, but there are degrees of ease, and she has found a deeper one. Find a deeper one now yourself. Wherever there is still some residual holding, some muscle that has not quite let go, some breath that is still a little shorter than it could be, find it now and let it soften. Not with effort. Simply with attention, the gentle attention of noticing that something is there, and that it does not need to be, and that the night is warm enough and safe enough for it to release. The warm water holds the Dolphin. The night holds you. Everything can soften a little more. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the Dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The Dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. A sea turtle passes below the Dolphin, slow, ancient, unhurried in a way that makes even the Dolphin seem rushed by comparison. The turtle has been in the ocean for 200 million years, its ancestors unchanged by almost everything that has changed about the world above the surface. It moves through the water with the particular authority of something that has survived everything the world has thrown at it simply by continuing, slowly and steadily, to exist. The Dolphin and the turtle pass each other without acknowledgement, two different answers to the question of how to live in the ocean, both of them correct, both of them sufficient, both of them here in the same dark water in the middle of the same quiet night. There is more than one way to rest. More than one way to find your pace. More than one way to move through a life at the speed that suits you. The turtle is not slower than she should be. The dolphin is not faster than she should be. Each of them is exactly the speed of their own nature, and their own nature is enough. Your own pace tonight is exactly right. However you are arriving at rest, quickly or slowly, easily, or with more effort, you are arriving the way you arrive, and that is the only way that has ever been available to you. The turtle descends. The dolphin breathes. Both continue. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The ocean is making a sound that has traveled very far to reach this place. A low frequency, generated somewhere hundreds of miles to the south, perhaps the sound of the seafloor shifting, perhaps the resonance of a deep ocean current moving against an underwater ridge, perhaps something else entirely that has no name because no human has ever been close enough to its source to name it. The sound has been traveling through the water for hours, slowing and spreading and losing energy with each mile, arriving here as almost nothing, a vibration more felt than heard, a presence more sensed than perceived. The dolphin feels it through her body. It is not alarming. It is simply the ocean communicating with itself across distance, the way the ocean has always communicated, in the only language it has, pressure and vibration and the movement of water against water in the dark. Your body has its own version of this. The faint hum of circulation, the low and constant sound of blood moving, the vibration of breath passing through the chambers of the lungs. Sounds and feelings so familiar and so constant that you stopped noticing them years ago. They are still there. They have always been there. They are the ocean communicating with itself inside you, the proof of life, quiet and unceasing, continuing without any need for your attention. Rest within that hum. It will continue without you noticing it. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. She drifts now more than she swims, the distinction between the two is so slight at this pace that it barely matters. The water moves her as much as she moves through it, the current and the swell and the very slow drift of the surface combining to carry her in a direction that is not quite any direction, that is simply onward, into the next part of the same dark ocean, through the next portion of the same quiet night. This is what the deepest rest looks like from the outside. Not stillness exactly, there is always some movement, some small adjustment, some minimal maintenance of the living system. But a movement so reduced, so economical, so completely without excess, that it has the quality of stillness. The minimum necessary motion. The motion that is indistinguishable from rest. You have found something like that tonight, in your own body. The breathing that continues without effort. The small adjustments your body makes without waking you. The minimum necessary movement of a living thing at rest. You are already there, or nearly there, at the place where the doing and the resting have merged into something that requires nothing more from you. Nothing more is required. You have arrived. The dolphin drifts. The ocean receives her completely. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. The moon is lower now, its light reaching the water at a shallower angle, the silver path it makes on the surface longer and wider than before, stretching further toward the horizon in both directions, as if the moon is reaching out with both arms across the water before it finally lets go and drops below the edge of the world. There is an hour before the moon sets when its light is particularly beautiful, not the sharp, direct light of the moon overhead, but a long, warm, almost golden light that comes in at an angle and catches every small imperfection on the surface of the water, every tiny ripple and wavelet, making each one briefly luminous before the angle shifts and it is simply dark water again. The dolphin surfaces into this light and floats in it for a long moment, her back catching the low, warm moon as it descends. She does not move. She simply floats, receiving the light, receiving the warmth of it, in no hurry to go anywhere, simply present to this particular moment of this particular night, which will never come again in exactly this way. This moment will never come again in exactly this way either. This night, this quiet, this particular quality of rest, it is yours and it is now and it is already enough to be grateful for, even as you slip past the point of being able to think about it. Simply float in the light. Simply rest. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. Deep beneath the dolphin, far below the reach of any moonlight, the seafloor continues its ancient business. Creatures that have never seen light, that have evolved in complete darkness over millions of years, move through their world as naturally as the dolphin moves through hers, as naturally as you move through the world of sleep that you are approaching now, that world that has its own topography, its own creatures, its own particular darkness that is nothing like the darkness of the ocean floor and yet has the same quality of complete removal from the surface world. You will go there tonight. You go there every night, and every night it receives you, and every morning you return without carrying anything from it except the rest it provided. It keeps nothing of yours. It asks for nothing. It simply receives you for the hours you need it, does whatever it does in that deep dark place, and returns you, unchanged in all the ways that matter, to the morning. Trust it the way the seafloor creatures trust the dark they were born into. Trust it the way the dolphin trusts the water. Trust it the way the water trusts the moon to move it, gently, in the slow tides that have been turning since before anything alive existed to be turned by them. The dark is trustworthy. Sleep is trustworthy. The night knows how to hold you. Let it. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always. The dolphin takes a breath that is slightly slower than her recent ones, slightly deeper, slightly more complete, the kind of breath that signals something shifting in the body, some transition from one state to another that has no exact moment, only a gradual movement in a direction. She has been moving in this direction for some time now. Toward the deeper rest. Toward the logging stillness. Toward the place where one half of the mind releases its watch entirely and the other half maintains only what must be maintained. She does not decide to rest more deeply. The rest simply arrives, as it always does, when the body has found the right conditions. Warm water, quiet night, no urgency, no hunger, no reason to be anywhere except where she is. The conditions are right, and so the rest deepens, and there is nothing more to it than that. The conditions are right for you too. Everything that needed to happen tonight has happened. You are warm and the dark is complete and the quiet is real, and whatever was going to worry you tonight has already done its worst and not been enough to keep you awake, because here you are, breathing slowly, body heavy, at the very edge of the place where thought stops and rest begins. One more breath. Slowly. All the way in. All the way out. And then simply let the next one come by itself, without you helping it, without you even noticing it. The dolphin rests. And so, now, do you. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver. Nothing here moved with any urgency. Nothing here needed to. The whole ocean simply rested, breathing slowly, in the dark. The stars above continued their slow turning, patient and indifferent, as they always had been. The ocean continued its slow, patient breathing, holding the dolphin gently in its dark and moonlit water. The night is at its deepest. The moon has not yet set, but it is low and warm and almost kind in its descent, its light falling at its longest angle across the water, touching everything it reaches with the last of what it has to give before it drops below the horizon and leaves the ocean to the stars alone. The dolphin floats in this last moonlight, barely moving, her body warm and still in the warm, still water, her breathing slow and her eyes half closed in whatever way a dolphin's eyes half close, her whole body in the state of ease that is the deepest ease available to a creature that never fully sleeps, that always keeps some part of itself in contact with the surface and the air and the world. But you can go deeper. You do not need to keep any part of yourself watching. You do not need to maintain anything. The night will maintain you. Your body will maintain you. Whatever needs to continue will continue by itself, as it always has, through every night of your life, without ever once asking for your help. You have followed the dolphin a long way tonight. Through the moonlit surface and the warm depths and the bioluminescent dark and the long, quiet hours of the ocean's deepest night. You have breathed with her and floated with her and let the current carry you and found the warm water and heard the low voice of the ocean and released everything the night asked you to release. Rest now. Completely. The dolphin is resting. The ocean is resting. And you are already there, or close enough that the difference no longer matters. Good night. The ocean is keeping watch. You do not have to. The dolphin swam on, unhurried, moving through the deep quiet of the night ocean exactly as she always had. The moonlight continued its slow, steady path across the water, touching everything with the same gentle, even silver.